The real reality, America, is that not all, but most black people are racist today toward white people. It's not whites toward blacks. It's really, it has reversed. And for some reason, people think that they can solve the race issue without dealing with black racism. It's not going to ever work that way. Just as white folks who were racist at the time had to admit that, yes, they had an issue and they overcame, blacks are going to have to do the same thing. You cannot stop this issue until you deal with black racism. And most black people, are racist toward whites. They don't trust white Americans. They look down on white folks. They hate them. They've taught their children to hate. So it's not going to get better. And I say all that to say that white American, you might as well go ahead and speak up. That's the only chance that we have to turn this around, is that you got to start speaking up about this issue. And yes, when you speak up about it, you're going to catch some hell from the ones that don't want to hear the truth about themselves. It's just the way it is. White Americans got to start telling the truth. And when you tell the truth, don't back down just because someone is getting angry about it. Don't apologize for the truth, all right? As long as it's in love and intent to help and to wake up, and you're not trying to destroy anyone or hurt anyone. But black people need to hear the truth about themselves. You have to do it. Here is an example of black people overreacting to the truth. A perfect example. And as far as I know, I don't know of anyone else who, doesn't mean that it's not happening, who is telling the truth about black racism. And when you're hateful like that, you tend to think that other people are hateful toward you when it's really you toward them. It's weird how that is, but it's the way it is. This is a Philadelphia magazine columnist in trouble over article about race. Robert Huber wrote an article in Philadelphia magazine called Being White in Philly. And Robert is a white man, by the way. FYI, Being White in Philly. The subtitle was Whites, Race, Class, and the things that never get said. Robert interviewed a number of white people who told him stories about their interaction with black people in the city. Can you imagine? Black people in the city. He writes about his concern for his son, Robert does, who lives in a poor and dangerous area near his university. And speaking of that, USC, University of Southern California, when I first moved to Los Angeles back in the late 60s, was a beautiful area to live in. It was predominantly white, and that university is a well-known university there. It has now changed, the community changed, and it is predominantly black, and now Hispanics are moving in, and it's a dangerous area. It doesn't even look the same anymore. And yet the beautiful school is sitting right in the middle of it. What parent would not be concerned about their kids going to school there? I mean, it's just common sense, but they're getting mad at Robert for saying that he's concerned for his son who lives in a poor and dangerous area near his university. Hubert thinks that most white people stop looking around at a large segment of our city, at our poorest and most dangerous neighborhoods a long time ago. One of the reasons, plainly put, is queasiness over race. And that doesn't make sense to me. White people, you can't be queasy over race. It is what it is. You got to deal with it. Many of those neighborhoods are predominantly, quote unquote, African Americans. I would say black people. At the same time, white Philadelphians think a great deal about race. I know white people have to be thinking about race, but they won't speak up about it, for the most part. Exceptions to the rule. But they must be thinking about it because something is always happening to white Americans. They are under attack by the people of color, and mostly by black people, even though the Hispanics are learning how to do it too. At the same time, white Philadelphians think a great deal about race. Everyone seems to have a story, often an uncomfortable story, about how white and black people relate. Now, this is in Philadelphia, but this is going on everywhere. I hear it everywhere I go. White people are queasy about race. They're afraid to say certain things for fear of being called racist. What a sad way to live. And it can change once you take that step to change it. He would write about a college student who lost her BlackBerry phone in class. The student wrote a note on Facebook to the entire class asking if someone had picked up the BlackBerry, right? Which is a natural and common thing to do. You leave your BlackBerry on your desk or in your classroom somewhere. You write a note to everyone in the classroom by way of Facebook. Hey, did anybody pick up my BlackBerry? Did you see it? Did you pick it up accidentally? A white girl writing this to the classroom. Well, she got the worst response from the only black person in the class. And I think you already know what that response is. Now, I don't know if this was a black male or female in this classroom, but from the only black person in the class saying, why would I just happen to pick up a BlackBerry? And if this is a personal message, I am offended. If it's a personal message, I am offended. Now, that is the reaction to the black person in the classroom. And all that the girl is doing is asking, have anyone seen it? Did you pick it up? And he or she, the black person, was offended. I would have sent them a note back that they would not have appreciated. Giving them the finger or something. And this is how white people got to start dealing. I'm not saying go out there and be mean and start fights, but this is this person's problem. This black person that responded in that manner, they have a race issue themselves. The average person would have done the same thing. Send a note out to the entire class. Did you pick up my BlackBerry phone by accident? Have you seen it? Did I leave it on my desk? Blah, 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 right? But they have to be offended by it, which tells me maybe they did pick it up. This one black person in the classroom may have stolen it. I don't know, I'm just saying. Because if they did not have anything to do with it, why would they be offended by the question? I would just simply written back and just said, no, I didn't see the BlackBerry. But it implies that they may have stolen the BlackBerry. I'm just saying. A white teacher got in trouble for calling, these are people who are talking to this writer of the Philadelphia magazine, white people, right? A white teacher got in trouble for calling an 8th grade black student boy when he got in a fight. The black student's stepfather met with the principal and complained rather than whooping that little boy butt, right? Complained to the principal. The teacher apologized. Can you imagine this? The teacher having to apologize for something that's nothing, but because it's a white teacher and a black boy, she apologized. And from then on, the black student behavior got worse because now he knew that no one at the school could do anything. How sad is that? And I have to honestly tell you, folks, I hear this all the time. The white teachers cannot do or say anything to the black kids in the classroom because their stupid parents have passed down this idea of racism to them. And if any white teacher were to do the right thing, then the white teacher is automatically called racist by the black student. And now these kids are out of control. Who do you blame for that? I blame the parents, and I blame white Americans for not speaking up, but I blame the parents